Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War with the Great War mod. Before we go into anything, I want to thank everyone, because this has turned into a really popular series, where the first episode, as of speaking right now, has gained 12,000 views, and similar views racking up for the other parts. And now you might say that could be because, well, not a lot of other people have access to the 6.0 version of the mod and is playing it out for you guys on YouTube. However, I've also noticed through my statistics app that I have, my YouTube statistics app that I have on my phone, that each video that I release breaks the record of the previous ones in terms of how quickly it gains views. So the first one obviously broke the record in terms of views of the latest videos I'd given, because it rapidly got a lot of views, but subsequent videos have also been able to break these records, so they're all kind of going for number one in gaining the views fastest to the next one, the next one, and the next one. So it seems like even though maybe they're not getting as many as the first one, there's still a very sort of big core that's really sitting out there waiting for it, and I'm very happy for that, and appreciate your guys' support, but also the fact you wouldn't be here if you didn't like it. With all of that said, I kind of have to go over again, I guess, what I already talked about in my Dutch campaign. I was away for a day, and then I was sick for 3 days, and you probably can still hear it on my voice. And so I'm not entirely sure where I left off, but it seems like we have kind of a stalemate on both fronts. We were able to push forward quite well into France. We've taken a region from the French, and we've also taken Brussels from the Belgians. However, the Belgians, of course, looks like they're going to be another revolutionary attack there, so more units will spawn, which has caused kind of a stalemate here, and here we've even have to backtrack to try and stop this army going through Strasbourg and cutting off our way back if that would be needed. Also, there's, as our spy plane has, reconnaissance plane has note, there is quite a few troops around Paris, where we have a full stack actually in Paris, but also one to the north, and then a lot of these smaller units around that combined probably would make not at least a half stack, probably actually more now when I look at it, a little more than a half stack. So there's quite a lot of troops, so we've got stalemate up here. I have been able, though, to actually, I've been taking a look at the situation, kind of familiarizing myself with what's going on again, and I did realize we did kind of have an opportunity down here, because, well, of course, as I've already explained way too many times about how I'm taxing the wealth of my nation and slowly running out, that we gotta keep, we are forced to keep on moving in a sense. We cannot stop, because eventually we'll run out of wealth to tax and the populace will riot against us. And also I'm kind of working against the timeline of the Italians joining the war in 1915, so it's late October 1914, and I don't recall exactly when it is. It's sometime like, I don't know, April, May or something, when the Italians joined in 1915. And it is, I think it's because there's a lot of scripts going into this mod to make it kind of historically accurate in terms of such dates and stuff like that. So I think they're going to be like a script to force the Italians to attack the Austrians and myself, of course. So we're kind of working against that, because I definitely don't want to be stuck down here with so many troops facing off against the Italians. I kind of want to have to more or less finished off the French by that point, or at least taken Paris. So anyways, with all of that said, I do have a little bit of money leeway to work with about 2,000 income. Now I've reduced that to 1,000 because I went ahead and exempted this region from tax, so I'm able to move the army out. We've had to leave some troops in order to keep the situation under control. We've got the cavalry moving right here, and then the main army is going to push forward, and we're going to capture here. Not only do we get another region and hopefully be able to lessen the economic strain on the home country, but I will also be gaining another college. The one in Belgium burnt down, but yet another one will increase my ability to research, and that will hopefully also work against the economic strain. Right now we're looking at radio and TNT. TNT will increase the wealth generated by mines, which is rather useful as we go through. Also probably should switch over to some of these like self-determination, women in the workforce, and Marxism, socialism to gain some happiness for the lower classes, even though in case of Marxist socialism it actually increases administrative cost by +2, which we might just hold off on just that one, but we could move through some of the others here. But what I think for today looks like the battle is going to be in between these two armies. But before we go ahead and end turn and kind of set ourselves on the path of destruction that way, let's go ahead and take a look at the east. So in the east we also kind of have a stalemate where the Russian two full stacks were blunted and destroyed. And still some forces remain, and they'll surely be burning the farms and my warehouse quite a few times before I'm able to push out. But we were able to transfer one army over here, so now we should be able to have hopefully in the future offensive capability, hoping to take Russian territories. We've noted already that this region is very wealthy with 7,000 wealth, which is in fact even more wealthy than the German capital, and we're making 2,000 out of this province in income, so we could hopefully gain something similar from this. Now it says here that they are gaining about 1,200, but their tax is about half what our is at 30%. With that said, oh yeah, maybe because I have started releasing the videos, and as I said, I've been getting some of your feedback. Most of it, I would say positive. The only thing which I should take with me, or one of the things that I remember right now, probably not the only thing, but it's really the naval battle. Now, a lot of people like the naval battle still, but a lot of people also pointed out that correctly I should have used the grouping tool to group the navy, and then they'd be sailing one by one, not blocking each other from fire, and it might have been more of a victory than what it was, as it was a very narrowly won victory against the British. So hopefully a lot of people wanted more of it. Unfortunately, with the money, this is the money problem that we have, or I have, and the time it takes to recruit navy, plus then the cost of upkeep and the cost of recruiting them. I would say it's highly unlikely that we'll see naval battle anytime soon. If we're going to see naval battle, it's probably I'm gonna have to have taken over all of France, probably big parts of Russia, to even be able to sustain some kind of, even think about some navy. It would be interesting. A lot of people were talking about possibly an attack and liberation of Ireland as kind of an idea similar to what the French tried during the Napoleonic Wars, that we might launch a navy to attack and liberate that and make it as its own country. With all of this said, though, it's high time to end turn and see if we can't come to battle with the French and hopefully turn some of these stalemates around. The British declare north North Sea military area the British have declared. Oh, it's just a repeat, maybe I shouldn't say that, but effectively blocking German from trade ships. As tension continued to escalate, Britain has gone so far as to opening fire on German-flagged vessels. Germany may follow suit. Does that... I was worried that might trigger something to actually reduce my trade here. But it doesn't seem to have done that, which is good, but it could, I don't know, maybe a script to send a navy to cut my ships down. Luckily it hasn't. With that, I'll tell you what I saw during the end turn, and that was the most French troops were actually moving south. So it seems like they are moving towards here, possibly. Now I could set my army to wait for them to come here, but of course, with the problems I have, I will push forward instead. Do not care too much to defend Marseille. Hopefully we'll be able to actually tax the region, but looking at it right now, well, even with complete reduction of resistance to foreign occupation, we'll still be about 1 point down. So not that great, but soon I will be able to attack here. I could probably move, even when my army is here, could probably send the cavalry in to start the attack and have these guys reinforced and actually be able to take the town within the next turn, rather than having to wait another turn. The French continue over here, so at this point I do have movement points enough to actually go ahead and attack them and stop them, which I think we're gonna have to do. The French army over here continues that way, means that this one can recover, and as the French are training troops from here, they're kind of leaving Paris unattended, which could lead to interesting results. I'm gonna fly around here. I want to see. No, they've got nothing interesting over there. Yes, units moving south. So they're not too worried what's going on here currently. I mean, you could possibly see a push where I'm able to take Paris, which would be an interesting... The problem would be to try and keep it under control for the French counterattack, because all those troops that are going south would turn around immediately and go north again. Plus, you know, if the Belgians are going to be able to spawn probably 2 stacks against me, or, you know, do double rise up against me, what is France going to be able to do against me? So that we've got that in mind. Also notice that a lot of Italian forces, as we can see, kind of moving east, which has me a little bit worried there, because I don't think I would be able to stand against both the French and so attacking, which is bad. The Russians over here they consolidated the 2 forces, are actually moving away. I'm contemplating here what I should do, and I think what I could do is I could load up the force, this force, which I've recovered quite a bit. I could load that one up onto the ships, barely ships, attack here and move here. So it'd be a lot quicker to move to take this region. It's risky though, because we don't know really what's up here. But we're gonna have to take risks, and then the Alexander von Kluck is gonna have to move in, take up the defense of this area, and then actually we should push, because there's no real need here. Foreign resistance to foreign occupation is enough to send the Russians away. So we should follow the Russians, this Russian force. We'll see them off, send them out through the border. This warehouse should be repaired, but I think if I repair it right now, he's going to move just down, burn it again, and then continue on. So it might be a risk to just lose that money. At the same time, we'll leave that for now. Also a little bit worried if the Russians are pushing in through here. Currently the Austrians still hold this region, so that's fine, but it's a weak point in the defense. With all of that said, let's go ahead and have today's battle, which is going to be the Duke of Württemberg attacking this French army. Now I'm a little bit worried because it looks like they have tons of artillery, which could be a problem. So they have 5 guns of artillery, which is going to be a problem. The thing is, I think, was it last time around, we had such a devastating, with so many men lost on our side, because I tried to go on the offensive, just because I didn't want all the battles to be repetitive of me sitting, waiting for the enemy to attack. But, of course, this is World War I. What was I thinking, really? Where, with the enemy having so much artillery more than us, we are literally forced to dig in and hold on and fight that way. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into this battle and kick some French baguettes out of Germany. And here I am on the edge of the map, as it were. I've made this defensive trench line going in between the edge of the map and this little forest and this bump here. We've got some impassable terrain. Played some barbed wire on the side here, and we're waiting for the French to attack, and I was thinking we're gonna have one hell of an enemy barrage coming at us. Given though that I placed myself on the edge and kind of on the flank like that, I was hoping, as I've explained before, that some part of the enemy army would come into range before some others, and I would be able to then focus my artillery on a fewer pieces of artillery on them. Given the fact that the enemy spawned within town, and given that there is the known bug that if artillery rolls over this at certain angles, it will destroy them, it turns out that the AI was so gracious enough to actually roll over almost every single one of their artillery pieces across this, killing all of them except this, let's see, one piece over there. So they had, what did they have? They had 5 units of cannon, which is 4 each, meaning, I should actually push my, before I go and gloat on the French misery, I should actually push my troops forward to the line. The cavalry is coming a bit too close for my liking. Forward. With that, they started off with 20 pieces of artillery. Now they only have 1 unit. A single cannon unit out of 20. I mean, it's a godsend. That's what it is. Also, someone pointed out the thing where, if I toggle guard mode, it shouldn't have the unit twist and turn like I had some problems with when they twist around. The thing is, that is kind of a known problem. I'm not entirely sure why it happens within this mod, but it is a known problem. It's always activated for normal troops. I think it's only like it comes from normal Napoleon, I think, that like guard units and possibly light units usually start with that clicked off, but for all other units it's always toggled guard mode, and it's something that I usually do click guard mode, because that means that the unit will be firing all the way to the very end of the fight, as it were. Here I kind of set a little bit of a trap for the French. I was thinking cavalry is most likely gonna come around and attack up the flank. So that's why I put the barbed wire here. Plus also why I hid the cavalry, not the cavalry, the light infantry here in the woods. The Jaegers. And so the Jaegers are able to open fire. Here's the 1st Regiment of Hussars. They decide, oh no, there's barbed wire here, we're not going to be able to cross there. Instead they're going to have to attack here, where, damn it. We just team killed about 100 men out of this unit. Just because this unit, as it fired on the cavalry, it actually hit these guys. With this, with the enemy loss of all their artillery, this is actually going to be a pretty easy victory. We'll have time to take a look at the French army as they move forward. We got some regular units here, but then we also have some Zouave units. Might seem strange and out of place, but of course this is inspired by France's North Africa holdings, and probably would be familiar to some American viewers that they also had Zouave uniforms in the American Civil War. I haven't actually been able to fire that much artillery on the French infantry. The thing also, there was a lot of nitpicks on different things where I wasn't doing stuff super effectively or like to the best of probably ability. Part of that is of course that I do these battles or commentaries live, and I miss stuff because at the same time as I'm trying to talk, I'm you know, fighting the battle. Multitasking is maybe not the strength of us men. But, so that's one of the reasons. It's also another reason where I do note that I mean, some people said, oh, because artillery is so great, you could... I mean, I could, if I wanted to be as effective as possible, I could just recruit artillery pieces, and, you know, there's probably strategies where you could win that way, but it's not really the way I play. And, that's also why I've done, at certain points, bayonet charges. Bayonet charges are not specifically effective, because you'd end up probably losing more men than if you didn't. I wonder if the Zouave units have maybe a higher rate of accuracy. Currently, when we're firing like this, straight forward, we shouldn't be shooting our own men. But also the cover of my trench line is working pretty well. Also, some people were talking about, there's been a lot of talk about how to get access to it. Currently, like I've said so many times, I don't know when they're gonna release it. When I know, I'll let you guys know. So, I mean, people still ask, but just so you know, like, it's not a secret I'm sitting on that, like, the 5th of April 2025 is when they're gonna release it. But I won't be saying it to you guys. French getting absolutely destroyed here. But they stay to the very end. I note that this unit has been heavily targeted by my artillery. Have I even targeted the enemy artillery? It seems to be retreating without me actually firing on it. The French infantry though stand. Oh, I did forget to tell these guys to fire again. Might be time to move some of these units out of the defensive line. Some of these are a little bit more protected by the woods. I could probably sit behind this without taking too many casualties, but if we speed this battle up, I think I might be able to do the small cleanup battle of those Belgian rebel forces as well. Have to watch myself here. I see that a lot of shots are coming by and landing here, so not to place my general there, having the... This was the Duke, though, so maybe not as important as the Prince of Prussia. Not entirely. It does in fact not say Royal or Crown Prince. That would be quite devastating to lose the Crown Prince in battle. Right, we're able to fight through the flanker. This battle, which I was so worried about, turned out to be an absolute disaster for the French. Just because of they decided to kill their cannons. I've been thinking about this, like, the AI doesn't use these anyways to sit behind them. If you would somehow in script disable it for the AI, because, I mean, the only thing that hindrance does, or that cover does for the AI, is kill its cannon. That's the only thing it does. The AI doesn't really sit behind it, usually. Maybe they do. I don't think I've ever really seen it. Oh, the pile of corpses right here. Poor French soldiers. The general, I was about to say the general died with them, but no, he didn't actually die, but he stood with them for quite a while before he decided to retreat. Right, so definitely a victory that I needed. Feels a little bit cheated though by the fact that, well, the AI more or less killed itself by having all its artillery destroyed except a single artillery piece. Did that one actually make it out, or did they end up riding on the way back, going over one of these and dying? Another thing that I've been also, there's, you know, people talked about the dragoons. A good use of the dragoons would be ride forward, dismount, take a position in houses, but the houses are so flimsy. 4 artillery shots take them out. A single artillery shot will take 25% of a house's health, so there's no point in being inside of them. Unless, of course, I mean, for certain mods, I know they can beef up houses quite a bit, so they can take a lot of artillery pounding, and that would actually make it useful. I would love to see something like that, where, because there's some buildings that are really cool to hold, and it would be interesting to be able to put, say, dragoons and stuff into buildings like that. But at the current state, I mean, it's suicide. I did send a Jaeger unit into one battle, and what happened to that? Like, within seconds, the unit completely disintegrated. I think 13 people or something managed to get out. Enough of that, though. Let's see if we can't bash the Belgians as well. And there we have it. We have the statistics here. For those who want to know, this battle was actually called the Battle of France. You get that kind of thing when it loads into the battle, where it says what the battle is called. Anyways, we ended up losing only 400 men. That's still almost 25% of the army. Unfortunately, as we noted, about 100 of those is self-inflicted. For the enemy, they deployed about 700 men more than us, 2,700. They ended up losing 2,380, leaving only about 325. For individual units, we actually have infantry at the top and not artillery. Then again, I guess because I didn't manually target each individual unit because I was busy talking, that's why they didn't kill them any. I saw a lot of the field guns, so the shrapnel shot was directed at a single unit, even though that unit was down to, say, you know, a handful of men. We were still targeting that and not really gaining that many kills per shell, where if I'd spread that out. And that was a bit about what I'm talking about, where I not necessarily the most effective. I mean, this is not a speed run. I'm not speed running the campaign. I kind of take my time and I enjoy playing. Could probably push. Yes, I did have cavalry here. What if I Could I attack and bring in this as reinforcements? I think I could. There's a risk of losing the unit, but I'll send in the guard cavalry. See if they bring in the reinforcement. It's very heavily in my favor. I'm gonna auto-resolve. We ended up losing only 42 troops, and we killed all of those Frenchies, so that's good. A few was inflicted by these guys. Wonderful, that's them completely gone. The interesting thing here, he's gained almost more points. He gained novice strategy from this previous battle, and then kind of apt that he got artillerist for the last one, given that the enemy killed off all of their artillery. Leading artillery units and movement range on the campaign map, that's good. He will now be able to, because all of this country is now open, which means the stalemate has now turned into our advantage, and we should be able to push on Paris if we're not completely god-awful stupid. Problem here is when I sent the cavalry away, the Alsace-Lorraine region, the proletariat are not too happy there. Not too happy at all. With that, let's see if we can't smash what's left of the Belgians. Actually, this is heavily in favor of an auto-resolve as well, given also the units in the Belgian army, so I'll go ahead and auto-resolve that. We lost 40 men compared to the Belgians, so we lost everything. Sometimes when you do that, it completely eradicates the unhappiness. It lowered it a lot due to them being destroyed, but it looks like they're gonna have another uprise. I would need to send 5 units in, which we definitely have out of this, but I would definitely also want to push troops onto this army so we could tag together with these guys and move on Paris. But that means that I would be able to control this region a lot better, and hopefully we'd actually see the total growth not be 100 minus. Currently, of course, that is due to... not entirely sure. That's a lot of minus points. Why is it so high there? It's not so high anywhere else. Huh. Yes. But I think we'll end it there. I know I talked way too much in the beginning of this episode, but I kind of felt that I needed to say those things. Anyways, we got a good battle in, because, well, it good in the sense that I won it, but it's not super interesting, maybe. Anyways, enough talking. I'll drag it on forever. As I always say, hopefully you guys enjoy this one, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.
Glorious victories, huh? Soon to be yours.